Twitch streamer Caitlin Siragusa, also known on Twitch as Amouranth, says that her home was invaded by armed robbers trying to steal $20 million worth of cryptocurrency. But here's the part that's really raising eyebrows. She claims she fired back in self-defense. Now, Amouranth has made some statements in the past that apparently have not been entirely accurate, or at least that's what people say, so not everyone is convinced. But if her story is true, could she still face some kind of liability here in her attempts to fight back? Let's get into it. So if you don't know who she is, Amouranth, whose real name is Caitlin Siragusa, is one of the biggest names on Twitch. She's known for her gaming streams, creative cosplay, and other interactive content that keeps her audience hooked. With over 6.2 million followers, she's built a massive fan base that tunes in to watch her every move. Whether she's playing games or chatting with her viewers, there's no doubt she knows how to keep people entertained. Now, Amouranth's journey started in 2015 when Twitch invited her to livestream her cosplay creations. And what began as maybe a fun way to share her costume making skills quickly turned into something much, much bigger. Fast forward to 2021, and she became one of the most watched female streamers on the platform. From ASMR and hot tub streams to dance content, she found a way to keep her viewers coming back for more. Now, in 2022, Amouranth shocked everyone when she revealed that she had made $33 million from OnlyFans. But then in April of the same year, she announced she was planning to leave the platform to focus more on Twitch. But as it turns out, she couldn't quite leave that big money behind, because in January 2024, she shared a screenshot to X revealing her OnlyFans gross earnings to be around twice what she made in 2022. Now, apparently Amouranth has had her own fair share of trouble on streaming platforms. She's reportedly been banned from Twitch at least a handful of times, and YouTube has also cracked down on her channels. But every time she seems to find a way to bounce back. Now, that said, on top of her troubles with being banned, she also has had her own fair share of drama. In October 2022, she shocked her fans by revealing live on stream that she had been secretly married for years. But that wasn't all. She also claimed that her husband controlled her finances and even threatened her dogs. This was an abusive relationship, she said. That said, not everyone was convinced. While Amouranth later said she regained control of her finances and also said that her husband was getting help, there was never really any official confirmation or detailed follow-up on the serious allegations she made against him. And what's more, she was criticized later for not toning down her steamy content like she apparently said she would, now that she said that she was freed from her husband after she had made these allegations, and she said that she had split from her husband. This left some people wondering, was everything she said true, or was there more to the story? Speculation grew, with some people questioning her motives and the overall accuracy of her claims. So with all of that said, it seems that there is a little bit of a landscape of a mix of skepticism of things that Amouranth says, and then other people who will believe what she says. So what does Amouranth say happened with this latest incident? On the night of March 2nd, 2025, at exactly 10:51 p.m., Amouranth's home in Houston turned into an alleged scene of terror. According to her, armed intruders broke in, demanding cryptocurrency, and what happened next was nothing short of horrifying. She later took to X to share her account of the attack, revealing just how brutal the invasion allegedly was. Amouranth then dropped a shocking video claiming she was the target of a violent home invasion where armed intruders tried to steal $20 million in cryptocurrency from her.
Oh, right here. It's in here.
I'm so sorry. Come on. Go, 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 go. Put it over here. Hurry up.
But things took a potentially deadly turn. If you watch the security footage all the way through, by the end of it, you can hear that gunshots have rung out, and one person says that he was shot. And Amouranth herself landed in the hospital, apparently. Now, the internet couldn't believe what they were seeing, some saying literally that they didn't believe it, and questions started to swirl a bit about what really went down that night. The story all started when she shared this post on X: "I'm being robbed at gunpoint." Then, when the internet tried to make sense of her original post, she dropped another bombshell in the replies. She claimed she shot one of the intruders in self-defense. Amouranth then shared a photo from her driveway showing a swarm of police officers gathered outside her gate, their flashing lights cutting through the night. And according to her, it was a full SWAT team that had showed up. And then later, Amouranth shared even more details about this alleged attack. 3 gunmen. He screams, I got shot after," she wrote. She explained that she couldn't post footage of the scene or the bullet casing since they were now evidence. But the most shocking part, she claimed the intruders beat her before the video and even pistol whipped her. The more she revealed, the more intense and to some unbelievable the story became. And as people questioned why she tweeted instead of calling for help, she said, "Was at gunpoint. They gave me my phone and said log in with a gun to my head. I tweeted because calling would be a death sentence." Not long after, the Houston Police Officers Union stepped in, urging the public to come forward with any information about the attack. With so many unanswered questions and a violent home invasion in the spotlight, authorities are obviously looking for every clue they can get. By the way, this is a total non sequitur, but did you know that almost 3/4 of the viewers of this channel aren't subscribed? If that's you and you're enjoying our content, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Anyway, this apparently isn't even the first time that someone has tried to break into Amouranth's home. In the past, she has already dealt with multiple frightening stalkers, at least one of which went to extreme lengths to reach her. Back in the summer of 2022, she revealed that a man had been harassing her online for months. But it wasn't just another internet troll. This guy actually flew all the way from Estonia to Los Angeles, which is where she was apparently living at the time, live streaming his bizarre attempts to contact her. He was arrested multiple times and initially was sent back to Estonia, but Amouranth has since said that he now apparently resides in Florida. And now with this alleged violent home invasion, it seems like this whole nightmare still really isn't over for Amouranth, assuming of course that everything is true and correct as she says. And so right now the Houston Police Department is deep in its investigation of the incident, but they haven't confirmed anything yet. No details about the attackers or their exact motive, although we can probably piece that together just using logic and reasoning. However, one thing is very clear here. Publicly announcing your massive cryptocurrency holdings is probably not the best idea and can actually become very, very dangerous to do. As Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies continue to rise in value over time, high-profile holders are actually becoming prime targets. Unlike traditional assets, cryptocurrencies can actually be transferred instantly, which makes it a tempting target for criminals who are willing to go to extreme lengths to steal it. And at a time when, say, a microcap altcoin has the possibility of, say, 20xing in value almost overnight, someone with small crypto holdings today, at least hypothetically anyway, can become a millionaire tomorrow if they happen to be holding a winning portfolio. A lot of ifs there, of course, but still, there is no greater possibility if someone's circumstance is changing essentially overnight than in the crypto world. And Jameson Lopp, a cryptocurrency security researcher and chief security officer at Casa, a company that works to help keep cryptocurrency assets secure, has pointed out that criminals are getting smarter. They're specifically going after individuals who make it known that they have cryptocurrency wealth. And back in late 2024, Amouranth posted a screenshot of her Coinbase account showing over $20 million in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Along with it, she casually asked, "Do I sell or hold my BTC?" At the time, it might have seemed like just another social media flex, but looking at what happened now, it probably actually put her at great risk of personal harm. And she's not actually the only recent high-profile target. Even people like David Balland, the CEO of Ledger, a French crypto firm, have been targeted. In January of this year, he and his wife were kidnapped 48 hours and held for a steep ransom until authorities were able to rescue them. And what's more, Lopp, the CSO at Casa that I referenced a moment ago, said that this was already the 7th so-called wrench attack in the first 3 weeks of 2025. But anyway, aside from all of that, what about the potential legal concerns here for Amouranth? Amouranth. Obviously, if the skeptics are correct and she's lying about all of this, or this was some sort of an elaborate setup that she and her husband were in on, then we're talking about falsifying police reports. And in Texas, which is where all of this allegedly occurred, that would be a Class B misdemeanor. But assuming she's telling the truth, it is still worth looking at whether she acted properly in self-defense, and if her husband, who apparently was the one who ultimately thwarted these home invaders, according to reports, acted properly in defense of himself and of Amouranth. When it comes to self-defense, Texas law is actually pretty clear. If someone is in immediate danger, they have the right to use some amount of force to protect themselves. And a person can use deadly force if they reasonably believe it's the only way to stop serious harm or even death. And all of this is similarly true for someone acting in defense of others in Texas as well. But of course, whether or not a situation legally counts as self-defense depends entirely on the facts of the circumstance. And in this case, Amouranth shared photos of the actual forceful break-in she says the home invaders committed to get inside her home. Then the home surveillance footage she shared shows her running from one part of her property to another, basically telling them to follow along with her because, quote, it's in here.
Oh, right here. It's in here.
I'm so sorry. Come on.
What it was that she was talking about that was in this structure is unclear from the video, but what's being reported is that she suggested to the intruders that all of them should visit her husband to get access to her cryptocurrency assets there. She also said on X that they beat me before this video and pistol whipped me. The pummeling felt like it would never end, and I protected my head by putting my arms up like I learned how to do in boxing. Blood was streaming down my head and my hands were beat brown. That's probably a typo. She probably meant down. And she said they brought duct tape and masks and were armed with handguns. So if this description is in fact accurate, this sounds like the kind of situation that would put literally anyone in fear of their lives. Coupled with the fact that this was in her own home late at night and the alleged aggressors weren't even known to her, let alone invited to be on her property in the first place, this just adds to all of that. But now my only question is about what happens after she and the intruders go inside this other structure. When she goes into the structure, leading them inside with her, just moments later, we hear gunfire, and the three men run back out, one of them saying to the others multiple times, "I got shot."
Hurry up.
Now, one thing that's unclear about what happens next is that Amouranth posted on X that she believed she had shot one of them. However, what's being reported is that after she allegedly suggested to the intruders that they get access to her account from her husband, apparently he was waiting with a firearm and he was the one who shot them. By all accounts, it appears the intruders left a trail of blood when they fled, so someone probably did get shot. And it doesn't sound like anyone here is claiming that these intruders were shot at multiple times in this timeline. And honestly, that wouldn't really make any sense that they would be following Amouranth into this other structure if she had already shot at them before this point. So it sounds like either Amouranth or her husband shot them inside this other structure, and it's unclear who did. Now, with regard to that inconsistency in the story, multiple possibilities are at play here. For one thing, this could just be an error in Vice News reporting. That happens, of course. But on the other hand, and I've talked about this plenty of times before, memory can be a very tricky and flexible thing. The mind has a way of even sometimes rewriting our memories for a number of reasons. And trauma is one of the biggest reasons why someone can walk away from an event completely misremembering something. And yes, that can also include whether someone saw someone shoot someone else or whether she remembers herself being the one shooting that other person. This, for obvious reasons, is hugely problematic for criminal and civil cases alike that rely on witness testimony. And that's why it's very helpful to have things like surveillance footage to help corroborate stories like this. Now, one other important thing to note here is that not all of the information about this incident is available to the public. When Amouranth posted the outdoor surveillance footage to X, she also added, I'm not supposed to post the scene itself, nor the casing, which are now evidence. So it seems that there probably is surveillance footage of the inside of the structure showing the actual incident of the shooting, and that we can't see it because it's part of an active investigation. Now, looking at all of this, assuming it's all real, of course, obviously we know that these guys are still unlawfully on Amouranth's property. Even though it looks like she technically invited them into this specific structure, she clearly did so under duress. And right before they go inside, you can see that even in this low-res version posted to X, at least one of these guys is clearly carrying a firearm before he goes inside. But I do still have some questions, and some people might see this as being nitpicky, but this is just using a lawyer's brain. At the moments between when we see them go into the structure with their firearms and the moment that gunshots went off, what happened? Were these guys still armed at that point? If so, were they pointing at Amouranth or at her husband or at no one? Were they already retreating? These are factors that can possibly have an impact on liability. I say possibly though, because taking everything in context in this particular case, the fact that they had broken into her home late at night, the fact that they had allegedly beaten and even pistol whipped her before this point, and the fact that they had run after her across her property in pursuit of these crypto assets, even if in this brief moment they started to lower their firearms and look like they were about to retreat because they saw that her husband was brandishing his own weapon in their direction, there's still a good possibility that this is all a proper use of force in this instance, because there is a lot to show Amouranth and her husband were potentially very reasonably both in fear of their lives at this point. I still would love to see the footage of the actual incident just to confirm this though. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Are you one of the many skeptics out there that just doesn't believe a single word that Amouranth says about any of this? Is there anything specifically about what she alleged about this incident that raises some suspicion or skepticism that you have about it? Or do you believe her account? Let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this, or at least found it interesting or informative. And if you did, I would love it if you could hit the like button. It does help us with YouTube algorithm gods. And if you're new here and you want to see more coverage of crazy cases and interesting legal topics like this one, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can find out when the next video is out there. And if you're really enjoying the content and you want to know how to best support the channel, consider becoming a member of Byte Club. You can join either through YouTube memberships or by becoming a supporter on Patreon. Links to both are in the description below. Otherwise, see you in the next one.